Hello, Baldy families, parents, and students. My name is Mrs. Nuskey, and I am the 8th grade assistant principal here at Baldy. I am so excited to welcome you to our virtual back to school night, and just so excited to welcome you back for this school year. We are really excited to start off the year strong and celebrate our 8th graders in the class of 2021 as they finish their final year here at Baldy Middle School. So for the presentation today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what you can expect for you and your child as they work their way through 8th grade in this virtual world, and hopefully into a more in-person hybrid model in the future. I'm excited to share some information about exciting things that we have going on for your child this year, and hope to be able to ease any concerns or answer any questions that you might have. A little bit about me. Again, my name is Jennifer Nuskey. I am the 8th grade assistant principal. This is my 3rd year as an assistant principal at Baldy. I was fortunate to get to Baldy as an 8th grade English teacher. And then I transitioned into a school-based teacher leader, and then went into the assistant principal role. So I am very fortunate to have gotten to know many of your children over the years. When they started in 6th grade, that was my first year as an assistant principal, and I've gotten to know many of them over their 3 years. They're a wonderful group of students, our largest class at Baldy yet. So we are just really excited to be able to support them in whatever way we can. I'm also the mom of a 4-year-old daughter, Savannah. She is in pre-K 4, so I am not only mom, but teacher as well. She knows all about my students and what mommy does, so she's excited to do this work alongside me. I'd like to start off with a note of celebration. Our 8th grade class has had a daily average attendance of 97.4%. That means that 97.4% of our students are attending school every day, every period, every day. We are off to a phenomenal start. And we know that there were little glitches and kinks along the way that needed to be worked out, but what an incredible way to start off our school year. We could not be more proud of our students. And honestly, this daily attendance is attributed to you, parents and families who really support and wrap around your children to get them out of bed in the morning, get them a good breakfast, have them have a functional workspace. So I applaud each and every one of you for supporting our attendance in getting your children up and off to school, if you could say. So to dig in a little bit, what we're going to talk about in my video is just an overview of the 8th grade schedule. Many of you have gotten familiar with it as your children have been navigating their way through their daily schedule. Some expectations for what you can expect moving forward for our flex and our live student sessions. Just some family engagement opportunities and really what's to come for you and your child. So many of your children, I'm sure, have spoken, or you've heard in the background as you have maybe been listening to some lessons that have been happening about what live teaching is and really what these live sessions are. And it's an opportunity for your student to be live, on camera, in person with teachers. While we are not mandating camera use, because we certainly do not want to intrude in families' houses, it's always encouraged just to be able to have that face-to-face interaction with a teacher, but certainly not mandatory. Students are required to log into these live sessions every day using the link provided by their teachers in their Google Classroom. Some teachers have opted to use Zoom, so your children would access their Zoom link through their Google Classroom, and the teachers would have walked your child and their classmates through that. During this time, students will engage directly with teachers. There might be some push-in support teachers as well for special education or our English language learners, and their fellow classmates. Many of our teachers are working extremely hard to really engage students. So they're using different different virtual or digital opportunities such as Nearpod or SLSO, Padlet. So you're going to hear a lot of new terms that maybe you're not familiar with and maybe your children aren't familiar with. But our teachers have received a great deal of training and are really working hard to ensure that students know how to use these new virtual platforms. And it's not something that they should feel intimidated by, but it's something that they should feel excited to use because it will really help encourage them to have that direct interaction with their peers and their teacher. It is encouraged, like I said before, that students have their camera on to ensure active participation and student attendance. And during live instruction, students will be placed into small breakout rooms with their peers. So a teacher will identify small groups, just like they would in school, and then send those students into small breakout sessions. The teacher then would rotate between those breakout sessions to ensure student collaboration, and they'll check in with groups and monitor as they would in the classroom. So again, many of your children as 8th graders are familiar with this live instruction by now. Each teacher right now should be doing 60 minutes of live instruction if they are an ELA, math, social studies, or science teacher a day. The live elective classes are 45 minutes long. So if you have any questions or concerns about what live instruction is, please feel free to email me, and my email address will be provided at the end of the session. So after that 60 minutes of live instruction, your students transition into what's called flex time. So content flex time is student-centered and student-paced, and students are required to monitor their progress and engage in daily activities. So teachers might assign lessons through Google Classroom that are due the next day or maybe at the end of the week. And at this time, teachers are often still available to be able to answer any questions or help your child through maybe a math problem or help them through a comprehension question in their English class. So this is really an opportunity for your students to be able to walk away from the computer for a moment, but engage in an activity that it shouldn't be considered homework, but really does continue to drive instruction. So some examples that maybe you have watched your children engage in might be watching a video and responding to questions, working on a writing assignment or a journal activity, watching a math tutorial and completing accompanying questions, engaging in a really self-directed, or maybe it involves the family, science project or a news story or current event. So these are all examples of flex activities. And this 30 minutes will continue through the length of our virtual learning. It's important for students to be able to complete activities that are self-guided and self-paced, but also have the opportunity to check in with the teacher during this time. This is also a great time, if necessary, for your child to check in with their counselor, with our dean of students. If you have any questions for me, this is a great time for them to check in with me. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions about what flex time is for your child. So as we continue, a day in the life of an 8th grader. So many of you are familiar with our schedule at this point. I can't stress enough how important it is for students to begin their day on time like they would if they were in school. Every day begins in community meetings starting at 8:11. 8:11 is our start time. Although advisory or this community meeting time might not feel instructional, it is critical to a student's social emotional support and development and learning through this rather traumatic time. Our students have not been exposed to one another in almost 7 months. And so it's important as advisors that they support your child's social emotional growth. And that can happen through this community meeting time, really taking instruction out of the picture and focusing on how they're feeling, their well-being, different team builders and exercises that can support your child and their peers in building a relationship in their advisory. So please ensure that your child is logged into their community meeting with their advisor at 8:11. After that, students will transition into their core content times from 8:30 to 10. They have their elective from 10 to 10:45, which will alternate between live, flex, or live physical education class. Then they have their core content 2 block, Then from 12:15 to 1:45, your child has lunch and a screen break. Again, a wonderful opportunity for them to check in with their guidance counselor, dean of students, me, any one of their teachers. And then after their lunch and screen break to log back in from 1:45 to 3:15 to complete their work. Let me just go back for a moment. So during this 12:15 to 1:45 time, beginning on Tuesday, September 29th, students will have the opportunity to join clubs. And so we're really excited to be able to offer that opportunity to students and really kind of explore their interests, just like we would if they were in school. So please keep an eye on our website and Class Dojo. Students will be learning more about this in their advisory class for them to select a club or clubs that they're interested in. So just a handful of expectations, reiterating the I am Baldy mantra of, ensuring that students are representing Baldy really well during this time. We could not be more proud of our students and how they have conducted themselves in virtual learning. This is hard, and we want them to feel safe. We want them to feel included, and we want them to feel like they know that their learning matters to us, how they're feeling matters to us. And that goes both ways. So ensuring that our students are meeting our daily Baldy expectations, ensuring that students are adhering to the code of conduct and completing their work the way that they would if they were in school and engaging in virtual learning appropriately, and ensuring that your child is present every day. And if they're not, that you send in an excuse note on our Baldy website, and that students are well-versed in how to access the student information system to check their grades, to check their attendance, and their participation. Unlike the spring, attendance and grades matter. Your child is going into high school, and it is critical that their first marking period in this virtual world has high attendance and as the best grades that your child can put forth in order for them to be able to support their high school growth. We want all of our students to attend the high school of their choice. And believe it or not, the 8th grade grades and 8th grade attendance matter. So I'll dig into that a little bit more in our presentation. Just a quick note about family partnership. I can't thank those enough that have reached out through email, through Class Dojo, to really highlight the hard work that they have seen in the behind the scenes of how we rolled out the school year and what they're seeing from their child's teacher as your child is, as the teachers are essentially sitting in your living rooms. I appreciate that communication. And it certainly goes both ways. If there is ever something that everyone needs to be made aware of, I will do a phone all call. I will post on Class Dojo, and I will call and email you directly. So please feel free to always reach out, and I will do the same. Collaboration and connection are just really key right now. Your children are growing up and they're almost in high school. But they still do need that support. And I'm so impressed by the work that our families and parents have done as working moms and working dads and working grandparents, working friends who have really wrapped around our community and made sure that their children are logging on and working hard and communicating with teachers. And every family member that we have called so far has been nothing but supportive and appreciative. And I can't thank you all enough. So please, if there is ever a time that you have a question or a concern, I am an email or a phone call away. It's important to highlight that in order to stay connected, to check our website daily. I can't stress enough how important our school website is. We're fortunate to have Ms. Cherney, who does a phenomenal job on our website, and it really captures a lot of the information that you all need to know. So rather than sitting on hold or calling or waiting for an email back, if you check out our website first, that might help navigate some of the questions that you might have. please feel free to reach out through Class Dojo. If you need to get in touch with me immediately, it's better for you to use my email address, which I'll share at the end, which many of you already have. And teachers as well. If you don't hear back from a teacher on Class Dojo, it doesn't mean that they're not checking it. It just means that they're on their email more often than they are on Class Dojo. So I would just encourage everybody to email rather than send messages through Class Dojo, unless the teacher that your child has expressed that they will answer or talk through Class Dojo. So just a few things on, what's to come and what to expect from us as a school. Really, a lot of the questions around how do we continue to create a community where our students feel socially connected while being physically apart. So important in 8th grade. I have the fortunate opportunity of teaching many of your other children or siblings or cousins, and I think many families know how important 8th grade is. We really pride ourselves on the 8th grade experience, the 8th grade opportunities, that the trips and the fun activities that we are going to do our absolute best to ensure that your child does not miss out on those opportunities, whether it be virtual or hybrid. They might feel different. They might look different. We might not be able to go to Mount Pocono, but I can promise you that as a grade, we will do whatever we can to ensure that your child has a memorable 8th grade experience. Like I mentioned before, what kind of events, celebrations, and incentives can we implement remotely? I love feedback. So if you have a thought or you know of another school who did something really neat and you would like to share it with me, please, anytime that you have a suggestion or a thought, I am open and willing to hear it. We got really creative last year as an 8th grade team in the spring in order to celebrate our 8th graders at the end of the year. We did yard signs, we did yearbooks, we did t-shirts, we did Kahoot games, we did escape room activities. We did whatever we could to ensure that our 8th graders knew how much we wanted their year to end successfully and in a fun way. And I can promise you that we will do the same. Right now, we're pretty focused on instruction and making sure that all of our students are connected, have Chromebooks, have internet access, and feel that connection with their advisory and their teacher. So please be on the lookout for more information regarding the 8th grade activities as to what that will look like if and when we go back into a hybrid model. I'm going to dig into high school a little bit, but just know that high school is exceptionally important to myself and Mrs. Stavrakis, our 8th grade guidance counselor. So I'll touch on that in a moment. And ensuring that we create lessons where students are engaged intellectually and collaborating with their peers. It is critical for our teachers to ensure that your child is engaged. Engaged doesn't mean just sitting at a computer listening to a 60-minute lesson. It means that they are talking with their peers, writing with their peers, collaborating with their peers. So if you ever hear a teacher say, can you drop your answer in the chat? Can somebody unmute themselves? Can you do this activity on SLSO? Can you complete this in Nearpod? Those are all student engagement opportunities, things that we would highlight if we were in school, and things that mean more now than ever in this virtual world. So if you ever have a question about that, feel free to email the teacher or email me. But if you're in the background, it's always nice for you to maybe a little nudge and say, hey, can you put something in the chat? Or why don't you talk to your friend? Those little things might go a long way to ensure that your child is engaging with their age-appropriate peers. So just to touch on high school, and I do suggest that you watch Ms. Stavrakis's video as well that would be located on the website regarding high school. So you can, our school-wide goal is for 100% of our 8th graders to go to the high school of their choice. So in order to do that, Ms. Stavrakis and I have spent a lot of time over the past 3 years ensuring that your children have access to and information about the high schools of their choice and really exposing them to an array of opportunities. Our Baldy Virtual High School Fair will be held the week of October 5th. So each day for that week from 12:45 to 1:45, the high schools below will present to students and families. This is during their lunch and flex time, so it will not interfere with any of their instruction. And we really encourage you to sit side by side with your child and engage with these high school presentations. Right now, we have Central, Carver Engineering and Science, Arts Academy at Benjamin Rush, Northeast High School, George Washington High School, and Swenson, all ready and willing to present. So you'll receive you and your child will receive a great deal of information with links for every day and for each high school. These sessions are not mandatory, but they are highly encouraged for your child and for you to be able to experience the high schools that many of our children do go to. We will also be offering sessions for students with IEPs and their families, as well as our English language families for translation support and more one-on-one support. Ms. Savrakis is incredible at her job, and she is more than willing to answer your questions, take your phone calls, answer your emails, and really support you and your child through this exciting yet nerve-wracking experience. So please be on the lookout for additional information and do not hesitate to email or reach out to Ms. Savrakis or I. And to end our presentation today, just to reiterate, we are only an email away. I know that the families that I'm speaking to right now are hardworking families. Many of you have jobs that just take you all over the city, take you all over morning, afternoon, and night. And so email is really the best way to get a hold of us at any time throughout the day. I encourage you to reach out to each of these individuals if you were to need anything. And if they can't support, we will make sure that you get pointed in the right direction. I just want to finish our conversation by thanking all of you for your time, your commitment, and your willingness to allow your child to be successful during this time. As a working mom, I know how difficult this can feel and this can be, but we are encouraged and hopeful and excited for the opportunity to work as hard as we can for you and your child. So again, if there are ever any concerns or questions or some positive feedback that you want to throw our way, feel free to email me. My email address is located there, and I'll attach it at the beginning of the slideshow as well. I hope each of you have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to working with you and your child through the rest of the school year. Take care.